Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video I will be doing a review and glucose test on the Keto Pitas from Toufayan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what I'm going to call it. Toufayan. On my last trip to the grocery store, I saw these pitas, and the timing couldn't be more perfect because this week's recipe video may use a pita. Well, we'll see. In terms of price, these were just $3.50 for 5 pitas, so as a keto product, that's not really out of line. But before we get to the taste test and glucose test, let's take a look at the nutritional information and ingredients. Serving size is 1 pita, 140 calories, 4.5 grams of total fat, 18 grams of total carbohydrates, of which 14 are dietary fiber for a net 4 and 7 grams of protein. Now the ingredient list here gets kind of big, especially if we start reading everything that's in parentheses, but I'll try and fly through this fairly quickly. Keto base, which is resistant wheat starch, wheat gluten, wheat protein isolate, oat fiber, soy oil, not thrilled about that, inulin, calcium sulfate, guar gum, salt, fumaric acid, monoglycerides, enzymes, ascorbic acid. That's the keto base. Water, vital wheat gluten, oat fiber, organic extra virgin olive oil, baker's yeast, enzymes, ascorbic acid, and cultured wheat flour, salt, mono and diglycerides, dry yeast, dough conditioner, which is enriched wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine mononitrate, riboflavin or riboflavin, I don't know, folic acid, and sesame seeds. So I suspect that ingredient list may have turned off a significant number of you, but don't stop watching because who knows what could happen in one of these videos. To prepare the pitas for the taste test, I spritzed each side with a little bit of olive oil and then heated it up on a cast iron skillet. So here is my griddled pita, still warm. The smell on it doesn't smell especially wheaty. It smells kind of like a stale cracker. Also, unlike the pita from UnbelievaBun, this one did not puff up. I'll see when I tear it if it does actually give me a pocket. Kind of. Not especially sturdy, especially compared to the UnbelievaBun's pita and some of the commercial non-keto pitas I used to eat. Wow. Not really in love with the flavor on these. They don't taste weedy. They are salty, though. At the very end, you get a lot of salt. And there's just something that I'm feeling on my tongue. It almost reminds me of licking a 9-volt battery, if you've ever done that. It's got that sort of vibe on my tongue right now. Yeah, it's really kind of bitter, actually, as I'm chewing it. Yeah, I am not in love with this pita, but I am going to finish it for the purposes of the glucose test. And for the purposes of the glucose test, I am wearing a Dexcom G7 continuous glucose monitor. I will be measuring continuously for the next 2 hours. I'm in a fasted state, my blood glucose is stable, and during that 2 hours I won't eat anything else, I won't drink anything else, I won't do any exercise. Nothing that may interfere with the results of the glucose test. And then I'll be back with the results. It has been about 2.5 hours since I ate that pita, so now it's time to check my glucose response. And to do that, I'm using the Levels Health app. This app pulls the data in from the Dexcom app and allows you to do more thorough analysis of your metabolic health. So let's take a look. The Toufayan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, pita scored a 5 out of 10. That's not a great score. Let's take a look at the details. I started at a blood glucose level of 86 milligrams per deciliter and went up to 122, or 36 points of movement. Generally, 30 is considered the threshold for a spike, so this was definitely a spike. Now, one cool thing that you can do with the Levels Health Analysis software is if you've logged previous food items, for example, the UnbelievaBun's Keto Pita, we can compare the two. Now, hopefully this shows up on your screen as well as it shows up on my phone here, but the blue line, that's the top line, if it's not showing up well on your screen, that is the pita that I had today. The white line that's considerably below that and shows a very stable response, that is the UnbelievaBun's pita. So in summary, the Toufayan Pita didn't taste very good, spiked my glucose, and also had an ingredient list that would probably be a turnoff for most people doing keto. On the bright side, only $3.50, so I don't feel horrible about throwing them away. Fortunately, I just checked and I do have some UnbelievaBun pitas in the freezer, so I'm good to go for this week's recipe video. If you'd like to check out my review of the UnbelievaBun's pitas, I'll link to it up here, and I'll also put it in the end card. And if you'd like more information on the Levels Health app and how you can subscribe and get your own CGMs and this app, I will link to that down below in the description. Just be aware now, they no longer are offering the Dexcom G7, they're offering the Dexcom Stelo. Anyhow, that is the end of this video. I hope you found it useful or helpful, or maybe saves you $3.50. If so, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell to turn on all notifications. And if you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with Serious Keto, I encourage you to subscribe to the weekly newsletter. Down in the description below is the link. Thanks for watching.